The Coral Highlands. A sprawling ecosystem fueled by the nutrients given off by the rotten vale. This land is undeniably gorgeous. Travelers and hunters alike agree on the true awe-inspiring nature of the locale. The breathtaking scenery adds a truly remarkable ecosystem, in which many creatures have tried to flourish, but only a select few have truly adapted to thrive. Few creatures are well enough suited to handle the unique challenges the highlands provide. While there certainly are many who have carved their own niche in the food chain, today, on Makings of a Monster, we'll be looking at its monarch, the apex of the highlands, Queen of the Skies, the embodiment of elegance herself, Legiana. With a wingspan of 21 meters, this Legiana is the largest flyer in the area. She controls the skies with ferocity as she is viciously territorial. Belonging to the Flying Wyverns class, she is a master of flight. She can be seen patrolling her territory amongst the skies, her beige underbelly purposefully contrasting the sky. Her grace wishes to be seen, as a warning to any who may oppose her that she is the authority, and this is her land. Her skin is made up of a special membrane that is highly insulated, allowing her to nest at high altitudes above the clouds. This membrane is also separated into 4 distinct sections on each wing, as well as 3 on her tail. She has evolved special flight muscles, allowing her to independently control each one of these sections during flight. Able to contract and expand them at will, she has complete control over her aerial movement. Atop her head, she crests a crown of her own making. 2 distinct sails raise over her head, each of which is also independently controlled. These crests are not simply for show. They serve the important purpose of acting like sails, much like the pterosaurs of old. She uses them to catch the wind and propel her forward, granting her the ability to survey her domain without needing to expend energy flapping her massive wings. One point of contention on the Legiana's evolution among researchers is when they developed the ability to fly. Surprisingly, there's quite a large amount of evidence pointing to the fact that they may not have always been able to fly at all. The first argument to be made is the lack of feathers. This dismisses them from being related to birds, and instead hints towards more of a reptilian or even amphibian beginning. However, this argument is relatively weak, as feathers are not a necessity of flight, the simplest example being bats, who fly in quite a similar way using stretched flaps of skin. Instead, the strongest evidence of Legiana's ancestors being land-based comes from her remarkable ability to control her wings in 4 sections. The reason her wings are sectioned off is due to her bone structure. Her arms are tipped with 4 extremely long bones, along with a 5th, smaller, clawed bone at the front. Investigating where these structures converge leads us to see how her wings form from an ancient, hand-like structure, much akin to bats. This has been used by some scholars as irrefutable proof of Legiana's terrestrial beginnings. While it is still unknown what caused such a change, it is far from the most mysterious adaptation she has. While her mastery of flight is enough to confirm her as a dangerous predator, it is not enough to command her reign over the region, and the other large monsters within it. For this purpose, she has developed quite a chilling ability. Under her body, along her arms, the sides of her abdomen, and running down her tail, she has specialized vents which can easily be seen by their bright blue hue. These vents are connected to a central frost sac within the creature's body, in which she produces a fluid that reacts with the surrounding air. When this fluid comes into contact with open air, it begins a violent endothermic reaction. Endothermic reactions are chemical reactions that require heat and so absorb thermal energy from their surroundings. This occurs so quickly that the water vapor surrounding these frost vents immediately freeze, crystallizing into ice along her underbelly. Due to the speed at which the water freezes, it is incredibly frail, allowing her to use her powerful muscles to launch these crystals at her opponents. While launching, she will release more of her frost fluid, which will freeze along the way, and may also freeze onto her opponents, causing them to drastically slow down. Unfortunately, due to the extremely reactive nature of the substance, the guild researchers have yet to determine the true contents of the fluid she carries. The generation of frost on one's body is normally something to be quite wary of, as animals must all regulate their internal temperature to some degree, or risk hypothermia. Legiana has perfected the ability to maintain her body temperature. Her organs are packed tightly together, and her metabolism is quite high, meaning her body is actually quite warm most of the time. This also explains her massive wingspan, allowing her to spread her wings to dissipate heat when she needs to cool off. The queen is remarkably built to thrive in cold altitudes, where she nests. However, she does have an inherent weakness as a byproduct. The tightly packed organs and fast metabolism of the Legiana are remarkably weak to poison, something she needs almost never deal with in the Highlands, as none of the animals who live here are known for their prowess at poison. Hunters will often exploit this weakness of hers while hunting, as when she is poisoned, she has considerable difficulty maintaining her body temperature, in turn meaning her use of frost is severely limited. As mentioned before, she is fiercely territorial. She will often leave her perch at the top of the highlands and patrol her domain, leaving claw marks and gashes wherever she goes, as a warning for others. She often shares her territory with the likes of Tsitsiyaku and Paolumu, the latter of which she will often compete with, using her superior aerial skills and powerful legs to dominate Paolumu until he backs off. He is unfortunately no match for the queen. With so many different ecosystems and regions in the New World, she has chosen the Coral Highlands as her domain, and has proven to her neighbors that she is queen, and the skies, her domain. Legiana is prepared to give any who fly through her airspace a truly chilling reminder of who resides at the top. Thank you for watching this episode of Makings of a Monster, and a big thank you to JP for suggesting Legiana for this episode. If you'd like to learn more about these beautiful creatures we live beside every day, why not check out a previous entry in which we examine the arboreal hunter Tobi Kadachi, or leave a comment saying who you would like to see next. As always, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode, and thank you once again for your support in the series.